Hi everyone, Ellen Jaffe Jones, the veg coach, and everybody's always asking me these days when it's so hot, how do you run in this heat? So I thought I'd take you along today and show you. I'd like to say it's a piece of cake, but not exactly. And the real question is, how do you survive and recover? But we'll talk about that when we get done here. So I always like to start with a little warm up, and true confessions is that I did run this morning already. In fact, it's 5 o'clock. My total distance today is 3.77 miles so far. But no matter what time of day I run, I always start with a little warm up. But that whole question of how do you run in this intense heat is the question I got asked on a podcast today, which is why I still have a little bit of makeup on and wash the hair. So when I come back from a hot run, I don't look like this, not at all. So maybe by the end of this, the makeup will be pouring off my face. I don't know. But it is incredibly humid. I'm guessing at least 70% humidity. Temperature, according to my watch, is right now 90 degrees at 5 o'clock. So the real key to this question is doing it early in the morning. When I first moved to Florida in 2004, I sauntered up to this woman and I said, "How do you run in Florida when it's this hot?" And she said, "Get up at sunrise." And that's pretty much exactly what I've been doing ever since, or running this time of day. Now, it's going to be a little warmer toward the end of the day, and maybe more humidity, maybe not. Interestingly, because I'm kind of a tech geek, and since I was a television news reporter in Miami, I've kind of been intensely following the weather even since I was a kid and grew up in the Midwest when tornadoes kind of came down our way. And I just have noticed that in the mornings here in Florida, the humidity seems to be higher and then it kind of fades away, depending on the weather forecast. I mean, if you got storms brewing, maybe not so much. Now, I'm getting a little bit of a workout here because I am holding this selfie stick. I'm guessing it weighs 2 or 3 pounds. So that is a little bit of a bicep workout. Not that I'm trying to do that, but I do like to warm up, and usually I warm up with a little bit of a jog, and I'm going to pick a part of the street where I feel like nobody's going to run me over because I'm not paying attention, which I'm really not going to be. Keep in mind, I've already worked out today, but I was sitting all day long in a real estate class, and I didn't have to take it, but it was kind of interesting. Oop, here comes a car pretty fast. Oh, we like to see those cars slow down. This is why you run facing the traffic, because coming around this curve, he maybe wouldn't have seen me if I had been running in his direction. So at least this way I could have jumped off into the grass if it was going to look bad. Anyway, continuing education for real estate. I'm a realtor because I got to pay for my running addiction, right? And yes, talking and running at the same time. Hi, neighbor. Definitely slowing down. All right. So, learning about, I'm going to take just a little bit of a walk here. So, I am finding that holding the selfie stick and also lifting my arm up a little bit as I run is winding me faster than normally. And I'm getting a message on my watch that my activity rings are closed. Okay, big whoop. So another key to running in the heat is running in the shade. So how are you going to do that? Well, find yourself some trees. Very lucky to live in a neighborhood with incredibly old oak trees. And so to the extent you can run under them, or at the time of day when the shadow is being cast long and wide, that's all good. It's also important to wear as little clothes as you can get away with. And I have racing friends who, they just run in sports bras because that allows, your whole torso to be exposed. And the evaporation from sweat, that's important in making you feel cool as well. All right, let's pick it up a little bit here. So you can see I'm running in my Get Set Up clothing. Get Set Up, if you follow me, has been a sponsor of athletes like myself. At the recent National Senior Games, I was their first experimental single sponsored athlete 2 years ago, and that went so well they sponsored entire teams this year. and you can Google them, but they're a really cool group of folks who have an online presence of classes, and depending on your insurance plan, you can get free access to it. And you can take classes inside in the comfort of your air conditioning or in the comfort of your gym. All of that is one way to run. You can run on a treadmill. I have a walking treadmill in my at-home office under my desk. Of course, I get so busy, sometimes I forget to use it. Sometimes I think I should just sell it because I walk outside, I run outside. The breeze when you're running too, that is a great incentive. So I also like to run at the shoreline. I run on 2 beaches here, Siesta Key and Lido Key. But Siesta, as it turns out, I didn't know this before, but it's actually just a little bit closer to my house when you drive it, especially in the morning. And there's always so much traffic there. I always had it in my head that it was farther away than the other beach of the natives, the locals, which is Lido Key. And it's a very nice beach too, but I went there yesterday, couldn't run on it. And sometimes this happens, as it turns out, at 7 a.m. when I ran yesterday, it was high tide. And so there was an escarpment, which is kind of like a step down where the incoming tide carves out like a little ledge on the sand. And you really couldn't run on that. And sometimes that happens. Not often, but it does. So I just walked a little bit and kind of called it a day. And then this morning I didn't take any chances. I just ran in the neighborhood here. So, another tip too, keeping cool while you're running is run through one of those. Now, in this neighborhood we have what's called reclaimed water. So all of the water that you see and hear in the sprinkler systems here comes from, let's see if we can see, one of our lakes. A lot of these properties have lakes behind their home. Maybe if I hold the camera up high enough, you can see one of them. Well, not right now, but I'll try and show you one. And so they have these pump systems that the rainwater falls into the lake, of course, and then it just reclaims it, as the phrase goes, and then you get to draw from that if you have an outdoor sprinkler system. Now, a lot of us don't have sprinkler systems. I'm a big fan of benign neglect in Florida. If it doesn't grow with whatever rain we do get here, and sometimes we get a lot, sometimes we don't get any, and there are actually restrictions on watering, there's plenty that grows here naturally without any additional saturation. Hello! So, I'm not the only one who is choosing this time of day to get yourself working out. And it's also good to have a partner, a running partner, a walking partner, as time and inclination allows. Coming around the bend here, and I'm approaching a house that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars. So sometimes, like in neighborhoods like this, you have a lot of families who are having their family members live together. So that may be even more of a challenge, trying to carve time into your busy schedule with other people around. And you might ask, when can I ever find the time to run? Well, you just have to make the time. Sometimes put it on your calendar, put it on the schedule. And as that old phrase goes, just do it. All right, I wanted to show you one of these lakes here. There you go, very beautiful. Some people even put docks by their homes. Not that there's a whole lot of fish here or that you'd even want to fish, because there are so few and we've overfished. Kind of just a good idea to leave them alone. But across the street you can see water that comes from another neighborhood. And it looks pretty teeming with life. Not sure what that is down there that's bubbling. Hope you can see that. Let me go across. And we do have gators over here. I don't think that's one of them. Usually they have kind of like a head that sticks up with two eyes, and they're really more afraid of us than we are of them. But this flows from another neighborhood into our neighborhood, and a lot of neighborhoods are like that here in Sarasota, where they are connected, and it makes for a lovely run without going to a park. And we have, that is a snowy egret, a Florida snowy egret. You can tell because they have these white fuzzy feathers on, sometimes on their head, and that one doesn't seem to have it, but pretty sure it is, maybe just because I can't see those fuzzy feathers. Again, going into the cool air conditioning, and that feels so wonderful, and Princess is so happy that she doesn't have to go out a second time today. But the real key to staying cool and running when it's this hot out is hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Because when you drink, that makes you perspire. As I have said so many times, perspiring is a good thing. Now, I will tell you, if you're drinking tea or coffee like I did today, I did both, my green tea and a little bit of coffee, because I had a big podcast interview for Get Set Up, and I wanted to make sure I was at the top of my game. But if you do that, for every cup of caffeine that you drink, be sure you drink at least a cup or two of water. So those are my best secrets and tips for running when it's really hot out. All right, everyone. And I think it may be time for dinner. Gotta run. Oh, don't forget, like and subscribe if you want to hear more.